What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. This is gonna tie into my last video. If you did not see what I was talking about loving your skin complexion as a dark-skinned fellow girly. I wanted to speak more about the confidence aspect, because the confidence comes from within. It's a mindset. Yes, we can change our physical appearance to actually feel it, to actually believe it, and it becomes your identity. It's a whole different process, right? So you want to build your confidence in becoming a beautiful, confident woman. You want to build your confidence to where no one can deny it when you walk into a room or just anywhere you go. Nobody can deny that you are not confident. People know that you are confident. They can't deny it. Look how she carries herself. Look the way she walks. Look the way she talks. And I'm someone who wasn't always this confident in myself. And it showed physically. I didn't always have the highest self-esteem. I was someone who hated how I looked. I just was so mean to myself because of what other people wanted to convince me about my skin complexion, about who I was. I got put down so much just like growing up that I truly believed it was true. So I carried myself in such a low light. I didn't speak. Yeah, it was to the point where I was just so like sheltered in my own shell. I barely spoke in class. I was that kid, like, and I'm talking about high school, because middle school I was kind of a little wild, but once I got to high school, something shifted to where my inner battles that I was dealing with started to actually come out. So how did it come out and how did it show? I just completely stopped socializing once I got to high school. I just never spoke to anyone. I never really spoke in class. This makes me sad saying it out loud, but it's the truth. Like, I never really spoke. I had one good friend, which was cool. I wasn't somebody who tried to fit in. I didn't care about being popular or any of that. I still managed to be in activities. Y'all, I managed to be on drill team. And if you are like grow up in black culture, you know what drill team is. It's not cheer. Drill team is like when you dance with drums, kind of like majorette. I managed to join that in high school. So I was still involved in activities, but I just was very like antisocial in high school, and I just had very low confidence. Even though people did like me, people did find me attractive, I didn't carry myself, or I didn't see it. When people would compliment me, I genuinely didn't believe them. I was just like, thanks. I didn't believe it because I didn't believe it. Me in here didn't believe the words they were saying because I couldn't see that. I couldn't see that I looked nice. Oh, I used to get compliments on my body shape, you know, which I didn't even pay attention to my looks or my body. I didn't know what my body size was. If somebody called me skinny, I didn't really see that I was skinny. If somebody said I had a nice shape, I couldn't see that. I'm like, and not that calling me skinny was a compliment, but like that's how much I didn't pay attention to my body, that I didn't associate myself like I'm skinny. Like, basically what I'm saying is I wasn't self-aware of how I looked because I didn't like how I looked, so I just kind of didn't care. Yes, I made sure I at least put on something decent. I dressed okay, but I wasn't like who I was now. I care about my looks. I like to make myself look cutesy. Like, look at my little hairstyle. Like, I put a little bow in my hair. I didn't do these types of things. Like, maybe if you didn't know me, you wouldn't know, but this is what I dealt with internally, right? So to be the woman I am now, which you can't deny that I'm way more confident in who I am, start my journey on self-improvement. And what do I mean by that? You know how some people are not aware of how they are, or they're not aware that they have these certain characteristics about themselves? You're not aware that you're naive. You're not aware that you don't have social cues. When you start your self-development journey, you start to pick up on things that you're weak in. You start to look at your strengths, your weaknesses. You start to analyze past experiences in like a different view, in like a third point of view. I started doing the shadow work, what some spiritual people would like to call. I started doing the shadow work on myself. I went back to childhood. I went deep. You have to go deep. Like, what was causing me to be so unconfident and be so low within myself, I had to do the shadow work. I went back in childhood. I had to forgive whoever made fun of me, whoever made me feel bad about myself. I had to reflect on situations. And then after I did that, I had to say, okay, what is this new identity I want to take on? The Venus that I am now, that I became, the identity I took on was, I want to walk with confidence. My posture used to be so trash. You was able to tell. This is my posture now. Like, this is how I typically walk around. My posture used to be like this. And when somebody carries like their postures like this, you already know they're kind of lacking self-esteem, because why are you slunched over? So I analyzed myself. I analyzed the way I walked. I analyzed the way I talked, the way I showed up, and I literally shifted it. I fixed my posture one day. I said, I'm not walking like that no more. I analyzed how I showed up in conversations. And what made me realize that it was working was one time we had to present a project. It was like we had to do a fake interview with our teacher in front of the whole class. Like, we was going to get an interview for a job. And this is my senior year. And when I did the fake interview with my teacher in front of everybody, the teacher would ask the students, like, how did I do? How did this student do during their interview? And he would allow the students to like give us feedback on what or how did we show up. And one boy said, she seemed really confident. I was like, he was like, she didn't say not one time, because you know how people talk, they be like so he was like, she didn't say not once, and she just seemed confident. I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's when I knew it was working. Like, you literally have to go into a whole identity shift when you're trying to be a certain way, look a certain way, because you know why? God gave us the authority over our lives, right? Because the kingdom is within us. We have the power to create the reality we want. So I had the power to create the new identity I wanted. I didn't want to be this girl who moped around and felt sorry for herself. So I said, you know what? I'm going to shift. I'm confident. I walk with confidence and I talk with confidence, and I believed it. And so it ended up embedding into my identity. One way to shift who you are, or even to shift outcomes, because obviously since I changed, the way people treated me changed. So in order to shift your reality, you have to shift your identity. Everything in who you are right now is the direct reflection of who you are. So these bad experiences I was going through was because I was allowing people to talk down on me. Then I believed it at that. I carried myself like I was a loser, so I was having not these great experiences. But as soon as I shifted, like, I'm not that, I'm this beautiful human being. Once I shifted my perspective and then I shifted my identity, everything shifted. You know what I'm saying? The confidence was reeking. Now if you see me in person, you just know. And like I talked about in my last video, I mentioned how I rekindled a friendship from my high school, and she told me how much more confident I am and how different I am, and it's so crazy for her to see it in person. And I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? Because when I tell you, I know how it is to just not feel confident, not have the self-esteem, not think of yourself in this way. I'm humble though, don't get me wrong, I'm humble still, but like, baby, I was overly humble. I was overly humble to where I was a passenger in my own life. I took like the passenger seat, and I kind of was always in the background of other people's lives, or I was always just trying to help someone else more than myself. I was always there for somebody more than myself, as if this is not my life too. Like, look at your hands. You're experiencing life through your perspective. And I was living my life as though I wasn't, as I was the background character in my own life. So once I started taking control and shifting my identity, life started to shift. And that could be in any way you want life to shift. You just have to take on this new form. Who you're going to be, how you're going to speak, how you're going to speak about things, what are you going to do. And it can happen because you have the authority, and God gave us authority to do that, because the kingdom is within. And it's all in your belief system. It's all in the faith that you have. So to show up as this confident woman who has standards, right? Because when you show up confident, you no longer accept certain things. And that's from men, that's from friendships, and that's from anybody. You know how to conduct yourself in the workplace, where there might be a coworker who try to get under your skin because they see who you are. They want to try to sabotage you, but you know how to conduct yourself. You know how to not get out of character, but you know how to play the game. Oh, I see that you peep me and you low-key trying to talk slick crazy to me, but I know how I'm gonna handle this. I'm not gonna get out of character. I'm not gonna be that angry black woman that people like to label us in the workplace. I'm gonna play it fair. You got to be that person that like low-key do things behind the scenes. Like, oh, you liked it? Oh, let me just type up this paper. Let me secretly find out a way how I can get you fired. Nah, I'm just kidding. But nah, like, just when you show up in this new identity, everything will shift, right? And when you do show up confident, people are going to confuse it with arrogance. People are going to assume that you're conceited, and it's not even that I'm conceited. I care about myself now. I love myself. Caring about yourself, caring about your looks, caring about your health is an act of self-love. I also needed to learn about self-love, which ties into it. Loving on yourself means the simple act of brushing your teeth every day is an act of self-love, because you know why? If you don't brush your teeth, you're neglecting yourself. If you don't put on lotion when you know you need it, you're neglecting yourself. If you're not taking care of any health problems you have, that's a form of neglect. You cannot neglect who you are, your looks, your hair. You take care of yourself as a human, which taking care of yourself is going to naturally make you feel more confident. That's what I started doing. I started taking care of myself. I said, you know what? This is my avatar. I'm going to take care of her because I want this avatar to have the best human experience as possible. Show up as confident as you can, but don't only pretend. Actually do the inner work. Do the shadow work. A lot of people don't improve. A lot of people, the age get bigger, but psychologically people don't grow. People don't evolve. And you want to be somebody who's constantly evolving, who's constantly learning, who's constantly upgrading themselves. You constantly are updating your system. Some people don't update the system, and that's why their circumstances always still look the same, because you don't update your system. You don't learn new things, you don't try new things, you don't feed your brain new things, you don't take care of yourself, you neglect yourself, you allow people to run over you, you don't do what you have to do. And that's what really causes us to just get stuck. And you build confidence and trusting yourself. There's another way that you build an insane confidence in yourself. Trusting yourself also looks like, if you say you're going to do something, you do it. That builds self-trust. Your mind starts to trust you. Venus said that, or you said that you're going to go to the gym tomorrow and you actually do it. That's building trust. It don't seem like it, but that builds trust, because deep down inside, if you're going to do something or not. And then that's when if you are somebody who you don't live up to your own words, your mind will never be able to convince you to try something new, like something risky, something scary. Like, say if you never stick to your word, you always say you're gonna do something, you don't. It's going to be harder for you to be in a creative space if you want to do content, or if you want to start a business. You want to do these things that require a lot of effort from you. It's going to be way harder because your mind is so used to you not sticking to what you say. And with content, you gotta have to stick to what you say. If you say you're gonna post a video and you don't do it, it will never get posted. And guess what? You will just never put yourself out there. And guess what? You will never get the opportunity. And you're gonna just be in a cycle of, oh, I'm gonna post a video, oh, I'm gonna do it, oh, I'm gonna start. The next thing you know, a whole year went by, you never started. So confidence is trusting yourself. Confidence is saying you're gonna do something and you're gonna do it. Confidence is taking care of yourself. It's showing up the way you intend to be. Confidence is not allowing outside opinions to affect here, to not affect the inside, the temple, and understanding that you are not a passenger princess in your own world. You are the driver. Okay? that's gonna be it for this video. I actually really like this topic because I got on here, I was like, I don't know what I would talk about. God, please help me figure it out. But I'm glad that we came to this conclusion. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you liking the video. Subscribe if you feeling it. If you want to stay over here. I'm not just a woman of just words. I do a lot of things, and I want to introduce a lot of things to this channel. But you know, we on the grind, we on the build up. So yeah, if you want to stay on this journey, just subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.